Ladies and gentlemen, I do have an announcement. That's not about what's happening with the channel, but I'm officially starting to write my very first book. It's called Mission to Mars: Perspectives on Science, History, Discovery, and Destiny. Basically, what it's going to be about. Well, let's get to it. So, Mission to Mars, Science, History, Discovery, and Destiny is all about the meat and potatoes is basically colonizing Mars. Learning from this perspective of looking at Mars, how it was like in the past when Mars used to be a Earth-like planet, and eventually billions of years ago, when all of that came crashing down, when the sun basically stripped Mars of its atmosphere and magnetosphere, all the water was evaporated and then leaving behind an atmosphere mostly CO2. Basically, how that all came to an end. Learning, learning about astrobiology, learning about what does survive and what doesn't survive, and looking at the recent discoveries of life on Mars itself, looking at evidence of the poppy seeds, looking at the craters, looking at the rock samples, looking at these canals. Um, that's kind of what I'm looking at, and looking at the human history of how basically how the discovery of Mars even began. It goes back thousands of years to the Egyptians. It goes back, when we knew that there was our well-known planets before Uranus was even discovered in 1781. Um, Basically, all of that, and then eventually the history part. That's partly the history part, but another history part, which we discuss in one of my chapters, is basically the lunar space race. Basically, you have to understand why we're going to Mars, but we have to talk about the history of the space race. Basically, how do we get from everything that happened after World War II and so on to how we got to the moon in the first place, and then eventually how leading up to the last Apollo mission, Apollo 17, leading up to Artemis, and how Artemis is going to be tracking to pretty much get to ready to settle and colonize the red planet. But basically, that's what this book is all about. And this is my very first book. What do I want to take from this chapter? Well, kind of just take all my knowledge from everybody that's been watching this channel, learning a lot about space, learning what I do know, and just feeding it off onto what I'm writing. So obviously, I'm covering my computer, but yeah, I'm sorry, I'm covering my computer, but that's all I can really give. So I just can't spoil what I'm writing right now. But this is the perspectives on my new book. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, keep exploring.